Car Talk is going on.
Yeah, we're done with it.
Get those words!
Well, there it is, guys. You were just singing along. Nerds, nerds. That's the only words to the song, so it's pretty easy to memorize. Our guest today, we have a third nerd we're super excited about. Bradley Brownell joining us. Were you singing along, Bradley? We saw you bobbing your head.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Nerds.
What is your favorite lyric from the song?
It's got to be the Nerds.
Hey, there it is. It's better than
man.
Bird.
We're so the same. We're so the same.
Okay. We clearly do not know how to open a show. Bradley, you are rocking it. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys don't know who Bradley is, he's a respected journalist, one of the founders of Radwood, and now the director of the Crawford Automotive and Aviation Museum in Cleveland. Am I saying that correctly, Bradley?
Flat six.
More or less, yeah. Yep.
Man.
I run the museum. I run Flat Sixes. I still have the EV car show called Autopia 2099. Doing all kinds of things. I keep my finger in a lot of pies.
A man who wears many hats.
That's right.
Bradley is impressive, unlike the nerds. Once again, Bradley, thank you for hanging out with us. All right. For those of you who are new, you're probably here because you heard that Bradley was going to be here, and he's like, all right, let's see what Bradley's doing. What kind of yahoos is he hanging out with right now? This is the Bid Nerds. He's the third nerd on a show. What we do here is we find the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. We have a quick conversation about that car, and we will make a prediction as to what is going to happen with that car's auction. Will it sell? Will it fail to sell? And if so, for how much? What will it get bid up to? That's what we talk about. It's kind of like The Price is Right, where you guys can play along in the audience. You can put your bid in at the bottom and see if you can beat the nerds. But let me just tell you, you're not going to win anything because there are no winners on this show. All right, there it is, except for Bradley. Bradley's a winner. Right, Bradley?
Always a winner.
Why not?
Always a winner.
Go with that. All right, today's car is a hot car, man. We're going to PCar Market. We're going to the guys who wear their checked jackets. They've got their paisley ties. They are ready to ask you, what do I got to do to get you in this car today? What do they got to do to get you to buy this beautiful 911 today? That's hot. It's hot.
All right, Bradley, I'll give you one quick thing, and then I'll turn a lot of this over to you because you're a big air-cooled guy. You have your own magazine, all that sort of cool stuff. PCar Market is offering for us out of Jupiter, Florida, this 1972 Porsche 911 ST Tribute with a 2.7-liter twin-plug motor. The car. Here's the thing, right off the bat. A lot of guys take long hoods and try to do either RSR or ST replicas. And what most people do who skimp use turbo flares, 930 turbo flares, which have like a 2-inch flat radius all around the lip of the outermost part of the flares. This guy who did this car, I believe, used proper flares. At least I think they did. Maybe I'm looking at the photos. I'm questioning my own thing. But anyway, in any case, beautiful car. The 2.7-liter twin plug makes about 220 horsepower. The car has way too many lights on the front for me. I don't really like that. I'm like, what are you going to do? They did the whole oil fuel filler through the front hood. Elephant Racing did a lot on the suspension side of the car. I also don't like the fact that they use 16-inch wheels for this car. To me, the long hoods, Bradley, I wonder if you agree with this aesthetic. I think that long hoods should have 15s and thicker tires. I don't think the 16s with a thinner tire looks right on the early long hood builds. But clearly,
I'd almost, especially for this, I would rather it had the aluminum barreled steels
Oh yeah, that'd be really cool with the long lugs coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Or maybe a mini light or some,
Oh,
Fuke
yeah.
on the front and a mini light on the back. Or
Now you're
yeah,
talking. Yeah, that as
there's
an
a bunch
ST,
of different
that'd be
ways
really
to
cool.
do it, but
Yeah,
definitely not like this.
I agree. The color is attractive. The pea shooter exhaust is kind of cool. But there's just, you could find little details on here, but if it were my car, I would change a lot, which is a bummer. But we've seen a lot of these flared cars bring big money, and the 2.7 twin plug seems to be a good motor from which to start point. As a starting point, 220 horsepower is nothing to laugh at when you're talking about a car that's this light. So it's here on PCar Market. Couple things. Do you like the car? And do you think that a car like this should have been on Bring a Trailer? So I'll send it to you, Bradley. Tell us more about what you see when you look at the photos on this one.
Well, I did look at the list. It does say that they are steel or star flares, which is a big deal. You definitely don't want the fiberglass.
That's what I thought. With fiberglass or the 930 flares, which have that radius. So I think that's kind of cool. But there's things I would change. So what do you think?
Totally. There's definitely a lot of money was spent on this car. It's good quality parts. It's fairly well done. There's a lot of things I wouldn't have done, but it's personal choice. And that's the problem with buying a modified car, is it may not be what the buyer wants, so they're going to have these issues like the two of us do, where they go, this is nice, but I would rather it had this, or this is, whatever. There's definitely some stuff I would do differently, but it's pretty nice. I bet it goes for decent money.
Yeah. JP, did you look at the video at all? The driving video at the bottom?
I did not.
You should not watch it or start cursing on the air. It's a really bad video. He's got a hand on the shifter the entire time.
Oh, he's that guy.
He doesn't. And he's doing an okay job driving manual, but like there's a few times where he doesn't match the clutch and the throttle. And I'm like, oh my god, AP is gonna cry when he sees this.
I don't know. I mean, this car is weird to me in a lot of ways. Did you say it's a 2.7 and he's got the 2.5 sticker on the back? And I don't know. I mean, I don't like the wheel size. There's just something's off on this. And this is a 72, right? So it should have the oil flap. Yeah. Did it have the oil flap? I know they moved the oil to the front. So what were they thinking?
No,
there?
It does. No, it's got the correct racing, so it doesn't have the flap, but it's got an oil filler sticking out through the fender on the right hand side.
Okay. Right.
I think the big deal for me is the stripes don't look right. The roof looks way wrong. Why would you get a race car with a roof rack? Come on.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, put a two more Fuchs up there, right?
Yeah, right. Something.
I like the seats. All right. And this car obviously not the original color, or is it? Did we determine that?
No, I don't know what the original color was.
Okay, so we've talked about these long hoods before, recently with different size engines. Does the change of the engine make a difference in the value? This is not the original engine in this car. Bradley, what do you think of how does the engine not being the original engine or even the correct size affect the value of this car, do you think? Or will it at all?
I think because it's a 2.7 twin plug and it's got the proper, motorsport sort of feel to it, it would rev really nice and it probably sounds amazing. I haven't watched the video, but I would say this is probably the right engine for this car, and I think people are probably going to buy it because of the engine as opposed to, in spite of it.
Are we sure it's a 2.7 and not a 2.5 and there was a typo or something like that? I get hung up on these little details sometimes, but that 2.5 sticker on the back is just bugging me.
And no, they say several times that it's a 2.7 twin plug.
Okay. All right. All right, guys. I guess now is the time to get to the number. What do we think this thing is gonna sell for?
What's interesting, JP, is that when we see people take a G body and try and do an RSR of it, they don't necessarily bring a lot of money unless the build looks to be of excellent quality. But almost any long hood that's got flared front and flared rear engine swaps seems to bring in the neighborhood of $200,000. There's a lot of things in this car I would do differently, but there's obviously a lot of money that's been spent. That motor at 220 horsepower is a great mill. And the flares are the right flares, so you could change a lot of the things that are on this car, and kind of bring it back and make it what I think would be a nicer vehicle. And the thing with the money he's got spent, I would think that the reserve on this car has got to be pretty high because it's trying to work his money, presumably, you know.
Well, is this car a dealer car, or is this the owner selling this car?
Let's see. It is private party.
It's a private party, because it just feels like, you know, this video, the driving video. It's like, oh, here's my 14-year-old child driving the car. You know, it's great that he can drive a manual, but he doesn't know how to do it correctly. You are absolutely right, Deeb. This is so ticking me off how this a-hole is driving it. Bradley, what do you think of the way this jerk is driving this car?
I didn't watch closely, but it didn't look great to me. I don't know. I'm cautious of calling out anyone's driving ability because I may not be the best driver myself.
I'm not talking about, look, maybe he's able to get around a track quickly or whatever, but it doesn't bug you when people just leave their right hand on the shifter the entire time. This guy has not touched the steering wheel with his right hand 5 minutes into this video, not once, and he's in traffic and he's going around corners. That is just such a huge pet peeve to me. I can't even, I've said it before when I've seen stuff like this. I hate this person. I hate this guy. And I wish bad things for him. I don't wish that he gets hurt or anything like that, just for the record. But this is, whoa. Okay. So, all right, Deeb, what do you think this car is going to sell for?
Okay, last piece, Bradley, before I give you my bid. This car also has a 901 gearbox, and I'm surprised it doesn't have a 915. That being said, there's a lot of money spent here, and it looks like recent work. I feel like I could buy it and fix it and make it better, but still, you got to pay for a lot of the work that's done here. I think, and again, PCar Market surprises us a lot of times. A lot of times, we see the car is sitting at $60,000 right now on 7 bids, and it doesn't close for 4 days. But PCar Market surprises us all the time. So with that in mind, I think $175,000 is attainable. I don't know if it'll sell at that price. I think that's where it's going to land, but it wouldn't surprise me if the owner of this car is thinking 200 or more, and the reserve set higher than that. But I'm going to say $175,000 and send it to you, Bradley. Where are you going to come in on this one?
I think the seller would be lucky to get that, and I think 200 is out of reach. I don't think there's a way that it's getting to 200.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go pretty far under. I'm going to say 149.
149. All right.
Bradley given the recent sale of that or failed to sell of that 72 that we saw on Bring a Trailer just last week, I don't see how this thing gets anywhere even remotely close to that number. I am deep. I am just I'm falling off my chair to think that you think it gets anywhere even kind of close to that. All
right.
Why? Okay.
It's the flares. It's the flares, JP.
Is that what it is?
People see the flares. Yeah, it's the flares.
That's the difference.
You can put $10,000 worth of flares on. Of course, it's $30,000 in paintwork or whatever, and the car value doubles.
That's a $40,000 motor, JP. Twin plug, 220 horsepower, 2.7 is a maybe $45,000 motor.
Yeah, and I get that. I just wow. What was your bid, Bradley?
149.
149. Yeah, I'll say 110, and I'm going to be surprised if it breaks 100. Honestly, I think cars like this are the kind of car that is going to be the most hurt, given what this kind of like bounce along the bottom. It feels like we're doing in the economy right now. I mean, we're seeing the stock market bounce up and down and do all kinds of things. We have major corrections in all kinds of other asset classes. We've seen it a lot in the last couple months with Porsche values, particularly these air-cooled cars, the ones that are clean, stock representations of whatever particular 911 variant they might be, continue to hold their value, and in some cases even increase. We've still seen big numbers in things like 964 C4 wide bodies that are stock, but we have not seen the value of hot rods and funky builds and stuff that I frankly think is cool, but I just don't think this is the kind of car that's gonna increase in value or get any. I mean, I think this guy's in trouble if he's trying to get $150 or more. So, what do you guys think out there in the audience? Am I completely off base here? Is this something? Are you more like Michael Deeb? You're super. What would it be, bullish on this wide body thing? Enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And also Bradley, who is an absolute expert, and I clearly am not. So now is the time to place your bid and see if you're better at the dumb nerds and also an expert. And we will find out if you are right or wrong right after I finish this donut. Hey guys, I'm super excited to tell you about our sponsor, Guys Customs. That's Guys, Gyx _customs. That's how you spell it. Guys Customs bracelets. These things are amazing. Check them out. They're handmade in America, custom bracelets made to match your watch or your car. These things are unbelievable. I have 3 or 4 of them myself. My partner Michael Deeb has a bunch of them. They're pretty addictive once you get one. Each one of them are bespoke. We're talking carbon fiber. We're talking titanium. We're talking stainless steel, glass. There's none of this cheap Chinese garbage that you see a lot of bracelets being made out there. These ones are super high quality. They're made right here in America. When you go to Guys Customs on Instagram, it's about the only place that you can order one of these. When you DM the artist, you're actually reaching the real artist when you DM Guys Customs at Instagram. And she will make you a bracelet made to match that special watch, that special car, or that special person that has a special watch or a special car and they want something really, really cool in their life. They make the most amazing gifts. I get compliments on mine all the time. Everywhere I go, people are like, wow, that's really cool. You can see in the pictures, these beads, the colored beads are PTS. They're paint to sample. So if you have a specific color code for your car, she'll have beads made that are specifically painted to match your car or your watch. It's unbelievable. You got to get one of these Guys Customs bracelets. Check them out. They support us, and we really, really, really want to support them. Guys Customs bracelets. All right, let's get back to the bids. Let's find out how much that car sold for today. Hey, welcome back to Bid Nerds, everybody. We are in the future. Just like that, we snapped our fingers, and half the world is dead. I don't know. What's that, from a Marvel movie or something?
Oh,
like
yeah. Marvel movie. Yeah.
I'm not a Marvel guy. Are you a Marvel guy?
I
have never seen that movie.
I love stuff. The Christopher Nolan Batman stuff. Ooh, was good.
Well, okay, but that's...
I'm a geek. I'm a nerd.
Okay, yeah. Hold on. Wait a second. Now it's a whole different show. We're nerding out about comic book movies. Yeah, Nolan, that's a DC. That's not a Marvel movie.
Yeah. But I like all the hero movies.
All the comic book stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that tells you something
Sorry.
about Michael Deeb. He's just a 12-year-old. There it is.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Underneath all this cool automotive swag is underoos.
Well, maybe that's what did this Hulk of a car appeal to you? What do we got here? I mean, what happened with the auction on this thing? Bradley Brunell had some opinions. I had some opinions. What happened here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like here. There's a couple things that are off, I think, for all of us. And again, when you start customizing your early cold Porsche, it's going to become subjective. And so this guy just sort of said, well, look, I'm going to do it my way, and he put all the accessory lights and the roof rack on it. And I think we all had probably like, if we each of us were to get this car, we'd all change it differently. With that being said, it's hard to guesstimate where this car would sell. One thing, it's on PCar Market. Another thing, it's done to the nines, right? Like, it's already done and decked out. So, would you leave it alone? I don't think anybody that buys this car is going to leave it alone. I think somebody's going to change it to whatever they like. That being said, I was the high bidder at 175. Bradley Brannell came in at 149,000, and JP, you were really bullish, bearish? What is it?
Bearish
at $110,000. Our car did sell on PCar Market for $150,000.
Wow.
Now, for the name of the show, I won because I was marginally closer than you. But Bradley Brannell, who only knows stuff about steam engines and airplanes and hybrids, he was $1,000 away from a Yahtzee. JP, interesting to note that of all the cars we covered last week, this one had the most action at 34 bids on PCar Market. So at 150 grand, right in the middle of you and I, what we both thought that this car would do on this platform. What do you think of that result?
Well, I'm pretty shocked by it, given, because I was we had just come off of the previous week. There was another 72 that was really,
the
really,
orange one.
Yeah, and that one was pretty badass as well. I really like this car. I don't know if I would change very much on this car. I actually love it, kind of the way it is. I know the engine. The only thing I would change is that badge says it's a 2.3 and this one's what was it, 2.7 or something like that, or. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, we're in the future.
Exactly.
It's been a while. Everyone else watching the show is like, you just said what the engine was, and I can't remember.
Right.
But yeah, I like this car a lot. That price, okay. I mean, I guess the big question before the break was, does the wide body really bring that much more money? And I guess the answer is, heck yeah, it brings a lot more money, even when it's not a real one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really does when it's on the early cars, the F-body cars versus the G-bodies. We don't see the G-body wide body conversions bring the same kind of money the F-body ones do. The other thing too, JP, is when a guy goes to cut his fenders on an F-body, he has two choices for flares. He can either do faithful RS flares or he can do 930s. And a lot of guys do the 930 flares and they do not look right. This guy did the RSR flares and they look correct. The car looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
The wheels, I think we said, were an inch taller than probably they should be, but they were at least done in the correct anodized RSR finish, like a Weidman wheel kind of thing. And I just think I think the car looks good. So I'm not surprised by that number at all. In fact, I was over that number. But that, well done. I think everybody wins. I think this guy got most of his money back. I think the owner got a good value. And PCar Market sold a car that, is pretty niche. So well done to everybody, including Bradley Brannell and his museum.
Well, I think like we said before the break, too, I think this definitely represents, though, a softening, because this car definitely would have been in the 200 range just 6 months ago, last summer or whatever.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because this is quite the build looking at this thing. I want this car. I guess that means I got to go get a Sawzall and start chopping at the fenders on my backgate car.
Akira-san?
And go, I guess I got to go RWB style on my backgate and make it look like this one. Pretty darn cool stuff.
Kelly Smith will disown you if you do that, right?
Well, and he has a car that's very similar to this, but we can talk about that in another episode. It was funny before the break. You mentioned, or Bradley mentioned, how he didn't like the roof rack on a race car, on what is set up as a race car, and you're like, oh, you got to put some tires on it, and there it is. It was right in the ad the whole time. There's the tires on the roof rack, so that stuff is functional. What do you guys think of the results of this really cool 911 ST tribute car? I really like it. Do you guys like the color? Do you like the treatment? If you got this car, would you change it? Let us know in the comments below. We really like hearing from you guys. The comments have been great lately. People are playing along. It's kind of like we always say, it's like Price is Right, and I think people are getting into that, and that's fun to have you guys play along with us, even though a lot of the people that are playing along are beating us. Michael Deeb, I don't know how I feel about that, but Ross and 150 are getting pretty darn good at this. Michael Myers, he's hopping in there all the time. I don't know. Buddha's
Yeah.
not so good. He needs to pay more attention. I don't know. What's going on, Buddha? Come on.
Yeah. The thing is, Buddha doesn't care. He just likes playing. You know
He
what I mean?
likes just jabbing at us, I think, is what's going on. We're jabbing back. It's a good time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back tomorrow with another of the most interesting cars of the day. Michael Deeb,
Get the nerds!